So I've received a few questions from prior participants of my training course based on the privacy settings of Facebook, and they wanted to know a little bit more about them and wanted me to explain them a little bit more in depth. They weren't quite sure how exactly they functioned and what some of the options meant, so I'm going to go ahead and do a little rundown just through the privacy settings. So I'm going to go ahead and head up here to the top right hand corner with the arrow. You can actually look in the booklet if you have one when you're a participant of the course. It'll show you how to get to the privacy settings if you couldn't find the arrow on the screencast here. So I'm going to go ahead and head to my settings and then go on down to the fourth tab here for privacy. So we do see quite a bit of information here on the screen, but I'll go ahead and run through it with you guys, and hopefully I can give you a better understanding so you can go ahead and set it up the way you'd like and protect your profile as much as you'd like to. So one of the really popular options that is stressed by Facebook and is usually like one of the first things that people can change when they create a Facebook account is who can see your future posts. So anything you post in the future, like photos, text posts, check-ins, or whatever it may be, this setting will allow you to change who can view that. So it kind of shows you here like when you're making a status update where you can change this on every post, but this will be your default setting whatever you change this one to. So as you can see as I'm circling around here, mine is currently public, so it means anybody who finds me on Facebook can actually see whatever I post on my page without being friends with me. Now, I don't necessarily recommend this, as most people want their Facebook to be private, friends and family only, and they'll post pictures of their grandchildren and whatever it may be, and just stuff they usually want to keep to family and friends only. I, however, don't post anything I consider super private, so I just leave it on public because I don't really mind people seeing my posts. So the few options here between public, friends, friends accept, and then as the drop down menu shows, specific friends or only me. Public I just explained to you guys because that's what I have mine set to. But then there's also friends, which means only your friends on your Facebook can see whatever you post. This is the most popular option, the one that most people will choose, because it kind of keeps your posts limited to anybody who you accept, so you know who is able to view your posts and who isn't. Friends accept is kind of a more advanced option, and when you select it, you're actually allowed to go through your friends list. Mine will load up here in a second, and I can click a minus and go ahead and take off any of my friends that I wouldn't want to be able to see my posts. This is kind of useful if there's somebody you want to be friends with on Facebook, but you may be sharing a post that you don't want them to see, maybe a post for their surprise party or something of the sort. So you just go ahead and remove them and then click Save Changes. I'm not going to do that at this time because I don't want to hide my posts, but this little red minus here, you'll just click that, and then right down here the blue button for Save Changes, we'll just go ahead and finish that up for you. But make sure when you do this, after the post is made, if you want to change it back, you do it right away. Otherwise, they won't be able to see any of your future posts beyond that if you don't change it back. Now, you also have a specific friends thing, or option, and this is kind of the opposite of the last one. It's to where everybody is deselected, so nobody will be able to see your post if you click Save Changes right now. You'll just be able to go through and add the ones who won't be able to see it. So say you were making a post just for your coworkers, you could go through and find each of your coworkers, select them, and only your coworkers would be able to see this post. Now, it was if maybe you were looking for somebody to change a shift with you or cover for you one day, or you had a question about some benefits you receive or something of the sort. That's kind of a good example for what this option would be useful for. But like I said previously, you're going to want to change this back as soon as that post is made, because otherwise then in the future only your coworkers will be able to see your posts, and you probably don't want that, but maybe you do, so that's completely up to you. But to do this, you just go ahead and see this little blue circle here. It's kind of like that minus sign on the last one. You'll just select and it'll show up as a blue check mark. You also are able to search up here for specific friends if you wanted to, if you had a longer friends list like me and didn't want to scroll through it. And this will allow you to find those people. And once you have all the people you want selected, you'll go ahead and click Save Changes, which once again I'm not going to do at this time because I don't want to hide any of my posts currently. And the last option on here is Only Me, and that's pretty self-explanatory. That's if you were sharing a post, maybe you just wanted to share for keepsake, maybe some family photos that you didn't want everybody to see, and you just want to keep uploaded to the Facebook so you have a copy of them for any future use for them maybe. It's not a super common one, but it is nice that Facebook does offer it for you. And then once we click the second drop-down menu, there is a custom option. And then there's also ones that allow you to hide your posts to only people that went to Western Tech or Black Earth Falls High School, or you could do this one for your coworkers as well with Culver's. But you may get some people that can see your posts then that work at other Culver's that are on your friends list, so I wouldn't recommend this necessarily. And I did kind of skip over this custom option as it's pretty much just a reiteration of friends accept or specific friends. It's just including or excluding friends from certain lists, but it's not necessarily useful as like I said before, it's just a reiteration of these two options here. And now that you know how each option functions, it's the same options for each of these, so I'll just run through these quick so you understand what they are. This is for who can send you friend requests, a pretty basic one. If you do want to hide yourself on Facebook, you can always choose that option, but usually most people just leave it open to everyone because Facebook does give you the option to deny friend requests or delete them if you don't want somebody as your friend. We'll go ahead and move down here to who can see your friends list. Now this is changing who can see what people you're friends with on Facebook. I leave mine on friends just so not everybody can see my friends list, but it's not necessarily something that has to be super private, so you could always just leave it at public. It's not a huge thing, but once again, it's at your own discretion. Here is the who can look you up using the email address you provided. This is the email address you used to sign up for your account. So say if somebody was having a hard time looking for you with your name, if you have a really common name or live in a large city, it may be hard to find you. So you can always give them your email, and they can just type in your email up on the search bar up here, the common search bar, and that'll go ahead and let you be found using that email address. And since your email address is unique to you, it will only pull up your profile, so it'd be a pretty easy way to add you if somebody couldn't find you. And I leave this on everyone because it's not a super common thing, but once again, you can always change it if you want. If your email address is fairly common at work or whatever it may be, and you don't want those people to be able to find you, you can just change that so nobody can find you using your email address. Now we'll move down to who can look you up using the phone number you provided. If you did provide one, you don't have to provide one for a Facebook account, but if you did, it's pretty much the same as the prior for the email address. If somebody's having a hard time finding you, you can just go ahead and give them your phone number, and they can search you up in the basic search bar up here. Like I did a search for a number this morning that had called me on my phone that I didn't know the number, so I was curious if maybe it would show me who it was. It didn't, but it's always a useful feature for people who are hard to find on Facebook or you can't find them and you want to add them. And this last one here isn't necessarily a privacy option like the rest of them with the few different options I explained. This is just a basic yes or no. This setting pretty much allows, if you have it allowed, if anybody goes on Google and types in your Facebook name, there is a chance they could find your profile. However, it's not very common because there's so many search results on Google that they'd have to scroll through probably hundreds of pages to find it. But it's not necessarily harmful or useful in any way because, like I said before, there's a lot of results. It's hard to find. So, I mean, you could just turn this one off just to kind of save yourself the trouble of maybe any robots or fake type profiles trying to find you using Google or Bing or other search engines. That's just kind of something that's at your own discretion, and I don't really have a recommendation on whether or not to allow it. I leave mine allowed because I've never had an issue with it before, and it's not exactly a common thing either. But I hope this helped you guys figure out the privacy settings a little bit more and fixed any issues you may be having with them, and I gave you the information you need to fix those issues. Thanks.